Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Contingency Plan Podcast. My name is Jedi Master David. With me, as always, is Darth Austin.
Hello, everyone.
Well, welcome back, everybody, for another fun-filled episode where there will be lots of Star Wars and wars and star laser swords and stuff.
Spaceballs, yeah.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we've ever really thought about like just doing sort of a spoofy episode with Spaceball, like a Spaceballs review, have we?
Just find some obscure like fan fiction novel, tie in to the movie, and act like it's a real movie or book review.
Well, there is one called Fanboys, which I think is Star
That
Wars
was actually
related.
really funny. I like that.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be impossible.
Yeah. Well, I think they actually got into the Lucas Ranch for that movie.
Yes. Yeah.
They might have just recreated it, but I thought they actually got in for it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, boy. Well, if last week was a filler episode, this week is just a shot in the dark.
Yeah, well, that's okay. We have those from time to time. I mean, we are about to be really structured for 3 months, so I suppose we could have some easy ones.
Yeah, no doubt. This week, we do have a couple little tiny pieces of news, little Reese's pieces of news.
Reese's Pieces of news.
Yeah.
Ooh, another piece of candy.
Yeah, here's a piece of candy. Piece of candy. But we are going to talk a little bit about Force Unleashed. The Force Unleashed.
Finally.
Yes. We've been talking about this for a while, talking a little bit about Star Killer. And we just never really have. And I just noticed that the room I'm recording in is way more echoey right now. Wow, it is echoey.
More importantly, is my camera less potato-y today?
Same potato
Same
channel.
potato.
I don't know. I mean, I to be honest, I don't really remember. I think it looks a little better than the last time, maybe. Does that make you feel better?
I just wondered because I had it a little bit further away last time.
Oh.
And I don't know how far this camera can actually pick up decent quality.
Well, it also could be like a lighting thing too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But we talked about this a little bit last week, but you can just pick up like a cheap like Logitech camera anymore, 1080p, and they work pretty darn well. I mean, that's what I have. I just have a little 1080p Logitech webcam thing that I do the Zooms with, that I capture our Zooms with. So, and that seems to work out okay.
Yeah, I prefer that personally because, I mean, those cameras are kind of janky in laptops. You never know when one's going to go out, so it's just kind of better to have that on standby anyway. So
it is kind of interesting. Well, I guess not really, because I mean, like, how many people with a laptop really need to have a camera in it?
I guess now a little bit more because everyone does Zoom calls.
Okay, yeah, true.
But that's only been like the last couple years. So I think quality probably will go up because of the need for better cameras and laptops.
Maybe. I always just use my phone.
Not there yet.
When I work from home, I use my phone
Yeah.
for Zoom meetings and stuff like that.
Well, there was actually a couple of our recordings I used the phone again, which ironically you said the picture quality looked better.
I think so,
and
yeah.
that's going from like probably at the time a $800 high-end laptop to a $200 phone, and the camera in that's better. So,
well, the camera is used as an actual camera nowadays, so
yeah, it's more required.
It is more required. Yeah, fun stuff.
Fun stuff that all you guys really care about while you're listening.
So anyway, how's your week been?
Not too bad. Saturday, I spent a little time getting some house projects done, got the crib built finally, and fixed some doorknobs. Run through this issue, like just the age of the house, all the doorknob, like the core inserts are starting to shear off because they're plastic.
Oh,
so
really?
The door will like get sticky for a couple days and they'll just completely break. And then I'll just have to take the screws out to get the door out if I don't catch it in time. So
cheap doorknobs, huh?
Yeah, well, probably original, and it is an 80s. So
I suppose so.
I've been going around just trying to replace them as I need them, but I'll probably just have to drop the $200 and replace them all at this point. I'm getting tired of having to deal with it.
I mean, you can go just to Lowe's and get a pack of 10, and it's not that expensive. It's not $200 expensive. It's actually pretty cheap. I did that, for my house, which is why it's so darn echoey in here, because like everything's like gone. Like I'm pretty much like sitting on nothing really. It's just mainly my desk and
no books to catch the audio.
Yeah, the bookcase is gone. The stuff that was up on the walls, which does reflect sound. I mean, that's a plus of actually hanging stuff up on your wall. It will make it less echoey. But no, I've pretty much I have literally gotten rid of all my furniture pieces because that was part of my thing. I'm just getting rid of all that and we'll start over fresh. So yeah, I mean, literally down to the end. I will tell you a terrible story though. It was not funny in the moment. I was actually quite angry, honestly. So I sold my treadmill. And when I bought it, it was in pieces. So I put it together in this room. Well,
and you probably said the same thing everyone else says. Well, I'm never moving that again.
Well, I didn't think about it. I was like, I can get this out of here. Well, it's not that simple. On the model I had, if it would have, it basically had these two little metal, support feet that are like under the actual belt thing. So the belt thing does come up, but you still have these 2 feet. Well, it would not go through the door. One, the treadmill in itself was too wide, and I couldn't get it through. So I'm just doing this on my own. Like girlfriend's getting ready to come up, but I'm just trying to get stuff done. And I gouged the wall, which I have now patched and
which you
fixed
probably
up.
just painted.
No, not that one. But no, I gouged it like twice. I left some some scratches on the floor, which I've also fixed. And then I got so angry, I pulled I pulled a thing that you did.
Did you punch a TV?
No, just the wall. I didn't even mean to. I straight up like Bruce Lee, like 1-inch punch this thing to whapa. And I was like, crap, that actually, dang it, that did damage. So I patched that up the other day and that's fine. No, I've actually been on quite a tear, but yeah, no, that I was very, very angry and super sweaty. And the people arrived as I was like just getting it out in the garage and like trying to reassemble it. It was terrible. And it was like this, I don't know, this, I would guess younger-ish girl and her dad with his big trailer. And like, I'm trying to explain as I'm trying to hurriedly assemble this. It's like, okay, so if you want to shift the belt over, you have to take the special tool and put it in this. And Ashley told me later, it's like, yeah, I was watching her and she was just nodding her head. And then she looked over at her dad and is like, do you got that? I was like, yes, I got it. So, but yeah, no, that was, nice. that was absolutely terrible. That was a terrible moment. But no, everything is largely patched up. I fixed the light in the kitchen. I fixed the fan in the master bedroom that hasn't worked since I bought the place, but I never cared much about it. It wound up only being a switch. It was just a bad switch. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. And it was that. There's another weird story. So we were going to bed and she went to the in the bathroom to whatever. And I just heard this sound start up. And I was like, what the hell is that sound? The air kicking on? It's like, it's already cold in here. And I get up and I go in the bathroom and the fan's running. It's like, I have never heard that fan run once since I've lived here, 5 years. And she's one of those light flippers. Everything she will flip every single switch on,
Even if you don't need it.
when she enters a room. And somehow she had just hit it just right to where it engaged. And I was like, oh my God, I was just about to replace that fan, and I would have replaced it and it wouldn't have worked because the switch was bad. So I replaced the switch, and it's all good. So yeah, it's
Nice.
It's something. It's something doing all that sort of jazz. So yeah, nothing but home projects for me as well. And I even took off Monday as well to get some stuff done, which is when I got the majority of that done. So that was good.
Right. Yeah, I imagine I'll have to take next Monday off too. I got a couple of little things to get done. I actually impromptu might be shopping for a car all of next week. I got an offer from a dealership near you, Chevrolet dealership. Sorry, that was where I bought it from. To buy my car, completely buy me out of the lease, and I'd owe like maybe $500.
Oh,
And I owe like 10 times that now to pay it off. So
interesting.
it was like one of those super sketchy, handwritten. I say handwritten, but it was like mass copy paste your name.
Yeah,
I want to buy your car.
Yep.
Copy paste the type of car things. I'm like, this isn't real. But I'm gonna call anyway, and it was.
They actually are. I've had numerous ones on my truck. So yeah, those are real. Used vehicles, they're harder to come by.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, still.
Right. Which that actually works out for me twofold, because one of my buddies got pretty much the same offer on his wife's Jeep, and because of that, they're both going in this frenzy of, oh, we both want to buy brand new vehicles. So he's going to be selling his 04 Camry, so I might pick that up at a decent price. Already made an offer, seemed pretty decent.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah, I'll have the most generic cars ever between your Civic and that Camry.
Well, hey, there you go.
Which a Civic was fun this weekend. I got battery acid poured all over my arm thanks to the Civic.
What?
Yeah, so the battery light came on.
Dude.
I checked it. It was charging okay, but it didn't explode. Calm down. It wasn't your.
Oh, it's so
It wasn't
dumb.
your battery. But so I go to Rural King because I just wanted to get a quick in and out battery, cheap, just get it done and over with. They didn't have it, so I took it to Walmart, which Walmart has decent batteries. I didn't really want to go high end with like a Duralast or whatever.
Sure.
But I went in there. It's like $170 still for a tiny little cheap battery.
Well,
Everything's so
that's
expensive
rough.
right now. But I picked up the first one in the little display. It was from like January, and I went to purchase it. It was a sealed battery, so I didn't think anything of it. I tipped it for the guy to scan it. Well, the negative post was busted, like cracked at the base, so it dumped battery acid all over my arm when I tipped it.
Also,
Ruined
so
a pair of work
it was the
pants
new
and-
battery that you were attempting
Yeah.
to buy.
Yeah,
Oh
and here's
my
this like
God.
Walmart mechanic, stereotypical Walmart mechanic, just covered in grease and just not all there. And he's just staring at me. He's like, well, you want to go get another one? It's like, do you want to get me something to wipe the battery acid off my hand? Or do you want me to get battery acid all over your card reader? So, and then I bought the second battery, and I got home, installed it, and I was still getting the battery light on. The battery off the shelf was only reading like 10 volts. It was low. So I had to charge a brand new battery. I was thinking it's like, oh, great, my alternator's going out or something. And I was like, well, this probably isn't going to fix it, but I plugged it in overnight to charge, and it's fine now. But this is why I want one new vehicle, because I can only handle stupid crap from vehicles from one. Can't do that with two.
Yep.
I think if I just see this scenario happening where one car breaks down randomly, and for any reason, if the other one doesn't start, I might just go on a rampage and, just shoot anything in sight. So I can't do that. I have to be safe. I need to get one new vehicle.
Yeah, I would say so. It is definitely worth it. I think once we get both of our house is sold and everything, you know, because she's been bumming around in an '06 or '07 Corolla. And while it still runs and everything, it definitely has its problems. And you know, she wants a Jeep. She wants one of those little.
So she wants more problems.
Yeah, she wants to be the most stereotypical white woman in the world with a Jeep and a German Shepherd. So,
A Jeep that isn't like the Jeep you think of when you hear the word Jeep, though. Not a Wrangler.
no, Wrangler, like 4-door.
Oh, okay.
4-door Wrangler, which I'm not. I want a 2-door Wrangler. Just
I'm a 2-door person too.
I just want like an older 2-door Wrangler just to like tool around in town with, you know.
I just want like an old 99. I
Yeah.
had one of those at work. We used as a utility vehicle, and that thing got anywhere. It was
They're
the
fun.
best plow vehicle,
Yeah.
and yeah, they are fun.
They are fun. So maybe one day, but yeah, I think once the house is sold, I'm probably going to go back on the whole commuter car kick, but this time I'm going to do it right. So in about a year, just to expect another car your way.
Well, I say you could just buy the Civic back once I get everything finally fixed up.
Dude, I don't know, man. Phew, that poor.
Well,
Well,
don't go for a lease. Don't go for a lease right now because they are outrageous.
no. I figure I'll pull together a little bit of money and just buy something that'll get through for a little while and you know, see how it all goes around. I just need something to commute with. Truck's still running fine.
Yeah.
Just need that. I want that
Yeah.
commuter vehicle. So
I just want to get like a little brand new Hyundai Accent or something really cheap and simple.
Kia.
Something that I know.
What's the Kia?
Forte?
Is
Is
the
that
Kia
their small one?
Forte? I don't know. One of those little Kias or whatever, which actually don't look too bad.
Yeah, and
The new
both of those
ones.
brands have like the best warranty you could ever ask for. It's
True.
like 10-year, 100,000 mile powertrain.
I mean, if they weren't the prices, I would probably want to like roll in like a Toyota or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, because like Toyota.
That's an investment. That's
yeah.
almost, I'd say, an investment. It's still going down in value, but slower.
Well, we gotta
you pay for that.
We gotta maintain these watch accounts, you know, that we have, right? You know, for our fancy watches that we're gonna buy. You know, so
Yeah. That reminds me, I need to check my Bitcoin and see how it's doing.
please don't
See if
look
I can
at
buy a watch.
don't look at it right now. It's creeped up a bit, and then it had a bit of a dip.
I didn't put a real money into it before everything started to tank. I think I only threw like $25 or $50 in it, so I don't care.
Nah, man, to the moon, all of it to the moon. Good times. All right, have we yacked enough about our days and our lives and stuff? The days of our
I think we bored everyone thoroughly. We have that one guy telling us how stupid it is to buy a brand new vehicle.
heck yeah,
Probably in the comments.
no doubt.
Making all the Ramsey people really angry right now.
Gordon,
Yeah, Gordon again.
and I know you mean old Dave Ramsey. Good times. All right, well, let's actually talk some Star Wars. So, first thing that I wanted to, we didn't really talk about it beforehand, but September 8th, we have Obi-Wan Kenobi, A Jedi's Return, which is going to be a behind-the-scenes documentary of the production of Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I'm not going to lie, man, I actually think if you're cool with it, I might want to fit this in solely because I want to see their justifications.
Yeah.
I want to see
Justifications. I want to see some interviews
Yeah.
with, Hayden and Ewan together.
Well,
it's always a good time.
There's that, obviously, but I want to see kind of like their thought process and how if they have anything in the actual production of this, because like we pointed out, there were times when they just needed to do better from a cinematography angle. And I'd be really interested to see what they say on that. But yeah, any more with like Ewan and Hayden would be great. I assume we'll probably see some stuff with Mose Ingram, conceivably. Maybe some of our other, other
Bale,
characters.
I'd imagine.
But yeah, I think that'll be a good one, maybe to throw in, just to have it. We did that with what did we do that with?
We tried that with Mando.
Mando,
when it
yeah.
first came out. That was the first one to do it. We did it up to like the Crate Dragon episode, I think.
Well, they did it for like every flippin' episode. It's like it was
Yeah.
so unnecessary.
It needed to be like a 2-hour for the entire season.
Dead
and be done.
serious, man. There was
Some of those episodes, like you finish the episodes, like how are you going to make an hour about this? How are you going to talk about this episode as long as it was?
Yeah, it's absolutely nuts. So we might jam that in at some point. Although I will say our schedule is a bit tight. When we look through here next week, we are going to be talking The Princess and the Scoundrel book, which I have no idea. Then we have Catalyst.
Is it a book or comic?
It's a book.
It's a book.
The Princess and the Scoundrel. Yeah, that's a book. Then we're going to do Catalyst, which is the Rogue One kind of prequel novel. Been looking forward to that, honestly.
Same here.
Then we have Rogue One. So this would be about the time when maybe we can fit that in. So I don't know. Do you want to try and fit in both of those, or do you just want to leave it alone?
We could. Realistically, though, we had some of our plans are kind of changing up because of announcements, and we were thinking about doubling up on some episodes anyway, so we could always replace one of our double feature Andor and Bad Batch episodes with that.
Yeah, that's also true. At any rate, we'll try and get that in there. But to his point, yeah. So we had this date, and I guess it really wasn't necessarily based upon like, Disney and Lucasfilm, but we had this whole date of September 28th for the release of Bad Batch Season 2.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like that is, just being shot down, and we're more than likely looking at maybe like an October, November type of release for Season 2 of Bad Batch. Now, if they released it in November, I'm pretty sure that Andor would end sometime in November. Wasn't that what we calculated it out?
Roughly. Yeah, I think so. End of November.
Yeah, and then that we wouldn't have to double, because I'll be honest, I don't really want to double up on anything. I'd rather have it just centralized on either or, but whatever we have to do.
Kind of could end up making us force our way through a really good episode of Andor just to talk about maybe a subpar episode of Bad Batch. I'm not looking forward to that happening. So
Yeah.
Of course, we could always just make separate videos at that point if it's a really good week.
Meh.
Not that I want to.
Yeah, so that'll be kind of interesting, but leaked dates, leaked info, y'all know that isn't necessarily always reliable. And we'll get to it when we get to it. But no Bad Batch at the end of September, at least as of right now.
I wonder if they'll make up for it by releasing 3 episodes in 1 week.
Dude, I seriously hope they don't do that crap. I think it's stupid. I really have never been a fan of doing this. And I mean, my God, we have to watch 3 episodes of Andor. I don't want to binge 3 episodes of Andor. I just don't.
Yeah. It's kind of like they could so take a good example from Game of Thrones right now, because House of Dragon just aired, and it's 1 episode per week, and they're actually doing it at a weird time, which I'm not a big fan of, but it's like Sundays at 9 p.m.
Yeah, weird.
It's just late enough where it's like, I don't want to do that on a Sunday. I'm not into. That's typically the day I try to go to bed a little early to start the week off right with work and school and everything going on. But yeah, I don't know. It's still better than getting 3. You rush through content so quickly, and you just don't absorb it as well.
Yeah.
I think when you binge like that.
Well, I'm in agreement with you there, man. I don't see the necessity in doing it. I feel like they're trying to experiment with bingeability. Like, do people want to see that? It's like, it's been overwhelmingly no. Like,
Yeah.
it has been overwhelmingly no. I think that there really has been a shift to say, look, the binge stuff was good during the pandemic because we got all of our instant gratification. But you know what? As soon as you started doing it like you used to, doing week over week, this is kind of cool because it leaves you something to look forward to. Now, if your show's garbage, then it doesn't really work out that much. But if your show's quality, then it sets an expectation. It sets like a fun little thing where you get everything together.
You plan it.
Yeah, you plan it out.
You might have a group of people that you watch it with every week. That's what we were
Yeah.
planning on doing. There were about 6 of us who were going to watch House of Dragon. Then we find out the time. It's like, well, do we just stay a week behind? Do we try and make it Monday instead? None of us want to do that. But if it all dumped at once, then that wouldn't be fun.
Yeah.
And Kenobi is a good example of that. I feel like when they did the 2-episode drop, it was they tied into each other well enough that the 2-episode drop worked, but you're talking about a show that's 6 episodes.
Yep.
You dropped a third of your show. Andor's dropping a quarter of its show. Why are you in such a hurry? You know?
Yeah, man, I really don't know. I really don't know. By the way, thanks for inviting me for the House of Dragon. I mean,
Sunday's your day, you know. You don't want to do anything on Sundays.
No, I honestly don't, and I wouldn't have been able to anyway. But yeah,
Did you watch House of Dragons?
I haven't watched it yet. No,
Okay.
I've heard a lot of good things. I haven't had any spoilers or anything like that. But
oh, really? That's surprising. I've seen quite a bit about it already.
I don't look.
Yeah.
I legitimately just don't look at the stuff anymore. I feel no real need, and because I've been so busy, I mean, I've legitimately been like every day busy so far.
Yeah.
So
I've been looking up a lot of Game of Thrones here lately anyway. I think that's why I'm seeing it. You know, read that they have 3 more series in the works, so I kind of Googled quite a bit just to research all that. So
yeah, and
that's
then
probably my fault.
Right, and then for those of you listening, we do have some friends who do a Game of Thrones-esque podcast called Bend the Knee. They've been running that for a long time. If you listen to some of the first episodes, I was involved in those a little bit. You know, it was on the podcast for a bit. But they've been running it, and I'm sure they're talking about it as well. So check them out. Yeah. Bend the Knee.
I'm sure it's been kind of dry here the past year or so for them, so it's a good time.
They've been reading through the book. They've been doing like chapter by chapter read-throughs of the books, and then
doing what we used to do, huh?
Yes, yeah.
Although there's a lot more to dive into with a chapter of Game of Thrones than a chapter of Vector Prime.
Yeah, and it is a big fandom. It's quite a big fandom. I mean, I think you can do that with certain fandoms. I think Star Wars suffers a little bit from too much. I mean, with Game of Thrones, you're talking about one series. You're not talking about like all these offshoots, although like there was the one offshoot that I actually, in some ways, I like better than some of the books, but Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which is like 3 stories about Sir Duncan the Tall and Aegon Targaryen.
I think that's actually one of the series in production.
Because that would be
one of the code names that they've used at least.
Yeah, the Duncan egg stories. Those were really cool. And Aegon Targaryen, at least that Aegon Targaryen was the one, if I remember correctly, lore wise. I think he was
Aegon the First, right?
I don't remember which one, but he was the one who basically, let's see, he was basically burned alive along with like his court, and I think they were trying to like hatch like a dragon egg, and it was like whatever hall they were in burned down, so he was presumed dead. Although I don't think they ever confirmed that. And Duncan the Tall was what do they call the king?
Hand of the king.
Yeah, no, he wasn't the
Kingsguard, head of the Kingsguard.
Yeah, whatever that title was, but yeah, he was the head of the Kingsguard.
So he's essentially the same as what like the Mountain would have been.
Or Jamie Lannister.
Or Lannister.
Or,
yeah.
Yeah. So.
Or the old dude that we always forget about who died in the wrong place in the show. Yeah.
So, yeah. That's the podcast, Game of Thrones. Anyway, so that's
secretly what we want to do. Just switch over to Game of Thrones for a year.
I mean, dude, we could start a Game of Thrones podcast. I don't care.
Yeah. I'd talk about it for hours and hours and hours on end.
Don't tempt me, Frodo. Hey,
don't tempt me with that either.
Yeah, Amazon's got that, and that I don't know. You know how these things go. The Amazon Lord of the Rings series, that's been that's ran into some
Ring of Power.
Yeah, Rings. Is it Ring or Rings of Power?
Rings of Power.
That has been. That's had some tough reviewing going on recently.
Yeah, that just aired a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
I don't think it's out yet.
Oh, maybe it's about to come out.
It's like I think it's close.
I read something about it recently.
Well, they released the soundtrack.
Actually, that might be coming out like the 28th. I remember hearing something is about to come out the 28th.
Well, anyway, we'll see how that show goes as well. I know that, anyway, it's all a bunch of people. Hey, it's woke. It's not woke enough. It's, it's this, it's that. Well, we'll see. We'll see what it is when
September 1st.
Okay, there we go.
September 1st.
So we'll see what happens when we get it. I mean, I love Lord of the Rings. I love the books, and I like the movies. Love the movies. The original Lord of the Rings movies were cinematic masterpieces.
Yep.
But we shall see.
And another show that's actually following the right release schedule. It's every Thursday, 9 p.m. Doesn't change.
I just hope it's good. Hope it's good.
Oh, actually, that's a PDT, so it's midnight for us, so Friday morning.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Time zones. They're fun.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. So there we go.
Let's actually... Oh, well, we have one more bit of news, kind of rush through it, but we have... I believe it's pretty accurate because it's on quite a few decent websites. StarWars.com has actually announced it, so... we have an announcement for 2 Star Wars Jedi novels, which, for those of you who don't know, the Jedi tagline is for the Cal Kestis story. I know the names have changed here recently, so it's kind of hard to keep up with, but this is the first novel is going to be set in between the games. It's called Battle Scars. Star Wars Jedi Battle Scars.
This is on the official StarWars.com as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, you just said
That's
you
where I'm
just
reading
said
from.
several like good sites. It's like no, it's on Star Wars.
Yeah, it's on StarWars.com.
Yeah, it's good.
So yeah, Sam Maggs. What has he done?
Sam Maggs. Yeah, this should be interesting. So Battle Scars arrives March 7th, 2023.
Yeah, this is actually pretty exciting. I'm very happy to hear about this.
Yeah.
Let's see. We've got, looks like mainly comic stories. We have Tales of Villainy, Follow and Lead, The Princess and the Bog, Part 1 and 2, Luke on the Bright Side. Stories of Jedi and Sith is where all that's coming from.
Okay.
So, and apparently she was a writer for the, or is a writer for the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake.
Oh, interesting.
So helping with storyboard and writing on that. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Okay. Well, good.
So,
Yeah, good stuff.
Definitely looking forward to this. I think this is going to really push towards potential series in the future, which I would be all in for. And I love Cal Kestis as a character. I think he revitalized Star Wars so much. And honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing a remake of The Force Unleashed in the combat style of the Jedi series. I think that'd be pretty sweet. It's about time to bring him back again.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about some of the stuff when we actually get into Force Unleashed, the actual book. I will say though, it is kind of fun to play a game where you just have all the powers.
Yeah, you are. It's Luke, Starkiller, Rey. That's your trifecta of overpowered characters.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. Yeah, it'd be interesting. I think there's still a lot of room to tell stories through video games, or just bring out cool video games.
I wonder if a part of the reason they delayed Knights of the Old Republic is dealing with continuity and how much things could potentially change based on your choices, and trying to figure out like what would actually be okay to be canon. Well, seeing as how they typically do canonize most of this content.
Well, the issue is all they have to do is, just remaster the darn game. Like, don't overthink it.
Remaster both and put them in one game.
Yeah, just boot it out for PS5 and Xbox One, Xbox One 360, and then just put it on the next gen console. Make it look good. Yeah. Smooth it out. Maybe, I don't know, man. It doesn't have to be crazy. Just remaster.
I think that ends up being a better start for bringing a series back than a hard reboot. Because look at Spyro. They're actually talking about making a fourth Spyro now just because of the Reignited trilogy. Really? And that was better received than I think a fourth Spyro would have been if they had just thrown one out there after so many years. Same with the Crash Insane trilogy. That kind of greenlit making another game. And a lot of games have been like that. That's happened with like Ratchet and Clank when they rebooted. Sly Cooper did a remastered trilogy of all the old games before they came out with a fourth. So I don't see why they couldn't do that with KOTOR and then make a third one, 4 or 5 years down the line, depending on time frame to make it, obviously.
Yeah, and as long as they keep the quality up, because like Fallen Order was very well received.
Absolutely.
Which is saying something, because there was so much crap behind Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
So like with that, and I thought it was a fun game. I had fun. I just didn't pay to win or anything like that.
Yeah.
But with Fallen Order, it was very well received. Like people were like, "This is a fun game to play. The mechanics are challenging. It tells a really good story." And I think that that's something that could easily be done again.
Yeah.
You could do other characters. You could do anything you want. You could do a flippin' High Republic game if you really wanted to.
I don't want them to, but I get your point though. There's a lot of potential. It's a bigger decision, more time consuming, obviously, to develop one of these games, but I don't know. I think it's worth it, personally.
Yeah.
It's a good way to delve into the medium. Some of these characters are just better as video game characters. I don't think we'd care as much about Cal Kestis' story if it hadn't been something we actually went through ourselves,
Very possible, yeah. That's very, very possible. Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see what they do. I will say this, though. The video game community can be extremely praising, and it can be hypercritical.
Yeah.
So, just make it good.
Not everything for everybody. Just good. Solid. And not buggy, please.
Yeah. No hell.
No Skyrim.
Well, buddy, don't, just, yeah, we don't, bugs. Yeah, we would never have bugs, right?
We're getting the day one patch for KOTOR 3 months before it releases. Oh, no. Day one DLC, $500 worth right away.
Oh, my God. Day one DLC.
Horse armor. Well, not horses. Star Wars.
Horse armor?
That's a Oblivion thing.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't play Oblivion all that much. I actually tried, and I got a copy of it, and I got through like the whole not like kind of like in quotations tutorial section, and then it just died, and it wouldn't let me go any further. And apparently, it was like a very common thing to happen. So anyway,
Got to install those bug fixing mods, man.
But I don't want to.
Yeah, I bought like the pack that had every Elder Scrolls game. I started with like the first one and about threw up looking at the graphics and trying to play it. It was so bad. Well, anyway, we've talked enough about video games. I think we need to actually get into our video game novel.
Yeah, sounds about right. And you're more the expert than I am in regards.
It's been quite a few years since I played this game.
True, but you did play it. You remember? You remember?
I remember.
Okay,
I remember.
You better. So yes, The Force Unleashed, the book, the game, the book of the game,
based on the thrilling video game that's about to release. I think that's what it says on the cover.
So let's say a couple things. I guess in the beginning here, I will say doesn't lend itself as well to a book for me. It's definitely like a video game plot in a book form. So
yeah, and I kind of expected that going in. That wouldn't be amazing, but it is a cool story to at least discuss. It's definitely a lot more fun to see it the first time around. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
And I kind of forgot some of the plot points, to be honest.
Sure.
So I mean, this isn't going to be like a huge review, guys. I mean, this was just kind of something fun to go through. But yeah, I mean, do you want to go with characters first? Do you want to jump into the story? Or
well, I think I think just a brief summary of the core story, I think, is in order, and then we can talk about characters. Because essentially what you're dealing with is the story of Starkiller, who was Vader's apprentice.
The secret apprentice.
Secret apprentice that Vader, in quotations, killed because the Emperor found out about him. And then he brought him back. And, kind of was responsible for starting the rebellion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing major or anything.
Yeah, nothing major.
Kind of a big bombshell to put into a video game when you think about it. It's a little over the top. It's like, oh, he was a secret apprentice to Vader. He's like the strongest Force user in his generation, and he started the rebellion.
Yeah, definitely video game.
And the decoration in his house was what gave us our rebellion insignia.
Yeah, well, it was like his sign or whatever.
Yeah, the house, the family sigil, I guess you would say.
They took it from him. Yeah, but I mean that's pretty much the main plot points, really.
Yeah, espionage, double, triple, quadruple betrayals, and a lot of angst.
Well, Vader tests him early, sends him after a couple of Jedi to kill, and
we get Shaak Ti again, and she dies for the 10th time. She just can't stop dying.
Poor Shaak Ti. She does have. She has a terrible history there. Let's see. Now, his actual name's Galen, Starkiller.
Galen Merrick.
And he was taken as a boy, and it was kind of funny. I saw a YouTube short, and it was like this kid, and he was like, you killed everybody in the village, right? Yep, we took care of all the villagers. You left the baby alive, right? It's like, no. I thought it was implied that we like kill everybody. It's like, are you kidding me? You killed the main character. Now we're gonna have half an episode of our series. And I was like, you know what? That is very true. You kill the entire village and you leave one child. And that one child walked the land.
It's funny. I saw a Clone Wars meme the other day. I should have sent it to you, but it was like a season 1 through 3 and then a season 4 through 7. Like season 1 through 3, it's just a goofy animated old cartoon of a guy with a army helmet just being all dopey.
Yep.
And then season 4 through 7 was, oh my God, he wasn't an insurgent. It was a child. What have I done?
Yeah. Nice. But Vader does realize when he's a child that he's particularly strong in the Force. He actually basically takes Vader's lightsaber from him at one point.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, what does this do? Well, he was strong in the Force.
Okay. Dealt with the kid.
Boy. But we kind of open up with Starkiller completing his training, Sith training, and then he is basically doing what the Inquisitors do, going out there and eliminating Jedi, along with his trusty training droid, Proxy, who tries to kill him.
Proxy.
Yeah.
Proxy's one of my favorite droids.
Yeah, it's a cool droid. And then an Imperial pilot, Juno Eclipse.
That's right.
Juno
The
Eclipse. Juno Eclipse.
The model for our main character in Alphabet Squadron.
Yeah. So we have our early targets, Ram Koda, who was a general during Clone Wars. Kazdan Paratus, who is nuts.
Just sad. He's just sad.
Yeah.
I love that we have our cast and like Cole and Kit Fisto and Kiadi Mundi are all marked as puppets because of him.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then finally, Shakti, who we have here. So, what do you remember about the game, like the actual game aspect of this?
Well, I mean, the game had a lot of pretty big moments. The start of the book, where Vader's kind of just tearing through this little village, you actually play as him at the start of the game.
Nice.
And you fight the Jedi and discover Galen. From that point on, I believe you have your first duel with Proxy, which is kind of cool. I can't remember who he impersonates, but the Rancor battle right before the fight with Shakti is definitely one thing that stands out to me above pretty much anything. And obviously pulling down the Star Destroyer, even though it's kind of a quick time event, is pretty epic.
Ooh, quick time events. Fun.
Yeah. Not like just
press
rapidly
X.
press the button to pull the... Which that is like the most hotly debated topic amongst like OP Star Wars feats.
Pulling a Star Destroyer. Yeah.
Pulling down the Star Destroyer. Because technically, I mean, a lot of people like to say, well, it just breaks the lore because no one would be able to do that. It's like, well, the Star Destroyer was actually already crashing. It was already damaged, which they don't mention in the book, but in the game, it's in orbit, in a battle. It's going down, and he just kind of redirects it. He doesn't pull down a Star Destroyer and fight against the engines. It's already heading his way. But still a really cool thing to see visually. It was, for the time, really awesome. We have our final battle, obviously, with Vader, which is pretty cool. The Ram Koda battles are pretty awesome. Shakti herself was a pretty fun duel as well. Get a lot of little quips from her.
Okay, good.
And, yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, the majority of it's just, like, enjoying just decimating hundreds of stormtroopers over and over again.
So, how many times did you use the lightning? Lightning bolt.
Quite a bit,
lightning
actually.
bolt. Lightning bolt.
It was actually one of the most fun uses of lightning in Star Wars games. I don't know. It's still nothing beats floating around as the Emperor in Battlefront 2 with Force lightning. Nothing will ever beat that. But yeah, lightning was pretty cool. A lot of emphasis on force push in that game and shockwave and whatnot.
And those are elements that are going to make it fun.
Yeah.
Lightsaber dueling is fun, but like it winds up being
The
move
force
sets,
is
just like a beat 'em up.
Yeah.
But when you add the extra little elements in there, it's fun.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best implementations of the Force in Star Wars games, other than like maybe Jedi, the original Jedi Academy game, and, obviously KOTOR and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, it was really cool. It was definitely the blueprint for Fallen Order, I think. So it was a good time.
Good. So we have these battles now. Coda survives. He is blinded, however.
He has a vision as they're having their battle and basically sees himself in Galen's future.
Yep.
And then he jumps off a cliff.
Yep.
It's cool.
Swan dive. It's pretty cool. Kazan Prodis is indeed dealt with, along with his statues of Jedi Masters. Mm-hmm. Shaak Ti is surprisingly killed off.
Yet again.
Again.
And Obi-Wan multiple times. Can't forget Obi-Wan.
I want to talk a little bit about Proxy because I thought this was one of the more interesting parts about this. So, Proxy imitates Jedi to attempt to fight Starkiller. And there are times when we get change-ups of characters that might start with one thing, it moves into another thing. But it's a machine that doesn't use the Force, and this is one of the things that Starkiller even points out and sort of like his inner monologue. It's like, well, he can't use the Force. It's not Force augmented, so it can only do so much. It will never be able to beat me because it doesn't have the Force. So how useful is that training, honestly?
I think it's more to just keep him on guard at all times, more than anything, I would say, and to trust nobody, although it doesn't work because, obviously Proxy's like his best friend.
Right. But he does want to kill him. It's like, I will end you.
And he doesn't really, and he feels like he's letting Starkiller down every time he doesn't kill him. I just think that's awesome. At what point, too, does it just get really annoying to repair this droid? It's like, Proxy, I need you to do tasks, and now I have to stab you in the gut.
See, that was the other thing, because there was, and just correct me in terms of whatever you know from game or whatever, but there are parts in here where it almost seemed like, could Proxy actually, in quotations, like really kill him, literally kill him? Because there was a part where he does get, Starkiller does get switched up, and he takes like a burn, but it wasn't like severe. So it's like, is Proxy really wielding a saber at all, or is it just more like a training blade or something?
I would imagine, based on all the dialogue, that he's wielding a true lightsaber.
Okay.
As far as I know from the games and everything, he is.
Okay. Fair.
Knowing Vader and the fact that he's the one that built him, I would be really surprised if he just gave him a training blade.
Yeah, I mean, it would obviously make sense because the real danger would add a layer there. But it was just kind of funny. Some of the language just sort of made it seem like it wasn't quite as menacing as you think.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that Proxy's that little interjection of comic relief in a very heavy-handed story that is pretty much perfect.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because Force Unleashed could have easily gotten really dark and depressing.
Sure.
Without that, so.
Another thing we should mention about Proxy is he does it's kind of like a communicating device too, where it turns into whoever he's talking to.
Yeah, and he also shows him profiles of his targets.
Yeah.
Which I feel like that would be probably his most useful trait.
Yeah.
honestly.
Pretty interesting droid.
The one thing I never understood was why, if he has a database of all these different styles, if he couldn't download a profile of whoever he was getting ready to fight and then allow Starkiller to spar essentially with his target prior to
that would make some sense. I mean, don't make too much sense, but yeah, that makes sense.
Well, the fact that a droid can do that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because at that point it's like, well, why don't you just raise an army of Jedi droids alongside your stormtroopers?
True. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very true. Very true.
Vader would have made for a much better ally to the Separatists. I think he would have made something better than the B1s and B2s.
Oh, I would say so. Anyway, moving along here, we do get the sort of, in quotations, execution of Starkiller by Vader as Vader's, the Emperor's spies get back to the Emperor. Like, you're my apprentice, my enforcer.
You're not supposed to do what the Sith do. Not to me.
Yeah. Well, at this point, Vader does take Starkiller into his secret lab, my secret laboratory ship in space in an uncharted region, where they're also conveniently holding old Eclipse over here, old Juno as well, for whatever reason. Just a casual trader of the Empire. Put her on my experimental ship with Starkiller. Okay.
I was just kind of assumed that was intentional.
Oh, yeah.
To be honest.
100%. Well, it kind of speaks a little bit more to Anakin than it does Vader. I think Vader is observant enough to know what's going on around. Like, I don't really think that much really escapes Vader, if we're being honest. And it was obviously very clear throughout the book that, you know, there were more than just a working relationship between Juno and Starkiller. There was more to that. And
I think the game, from what I remember, actually shows that much better than the book. The book doesn't really give good descriptors of why they start to fall for each other.
It really
it's just
doesn't,
kind of like
does
an
it?
instant shift.
Yeah.
Because from what I remember, most of what turns into a relationship is more from physical action than dialogue. It's just like he keeps saving her and they keep getting in these situations, and that's kind of what happens, kind of like a Danny Quee kind of thing, with
Fair.
New Jedi Order. So
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. Well, anyway, Starkiller makes his way out of the ship, kills a lot of stormtroopers, and they kind of go off on their merry way to
start a rebellion.
do their own thing per Vader. It's like, just do it. Do it.
Start a rebellion.
Like, just use the exact tactics that the Emperor used against the Jedi Order and the Old Republic, and we'll do it to him because he'll never see it coming.
Do we have, like, programmable commands for our people? No. I don't have that kind of pull against the stormtroopers. And they're not clones, you idiot.
Yeah.
I always wonder, like, now thinking about it after watching or playing the game and now reading the book, kind of changes how you look at watching the movies. Because, like, don't you just imagine, like, in the back of their minds, they're like, we brought this on ourselves. We technically started the rebellion that killed us.
Yeah, basically. It is kind of funny how that happened. I mean, because essentially Vader did cause the distraction.
Yeah.
Indirectly.
And they certainly made it clear through the novel that this wouldn't have happened without Starkiller. I mean, these people were extremely scattered. They had the drive, but they didn't have the gumption to get together, I guess. The courage, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. So we do pick up with the finding of Coda, and then going to Kashyyyk to rescue Bail Organa.
And deal with the dark side because we killed Shaak Ti.
That's right. And then we rescue Princess Leia.
Yeah, just random ejection for no reason.
It's like, oh. And he doesn't he doesn't feel her connection with the Force either.
No, nobody does. Of course not.
All right. Okay, cool.
Then she ran away really quickly. Like stupid quickly. We do get our most epic fight in the entire novel, though, in this part. Did you listen to the book or did you read it?
I just listened to it. Go ahead and tell it. Tell the story.
So the Rancor fight.
Rancor?
Because someone can't pronounce Rancor properly.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, after Shaak Ti's death, one of 5 deaths, the planet just kind of. It's like, we're just going to be dark side now. Everybody's going to be dark side. You're a dark side. You're a dark side. Rancor dark side. But Shaak Ti's apprentice falls to the dark side. She has like the alpha Rancor on the planet. And we get probably one of the most epic kills in all of Star Wars with Starkiller just literally exploding its head from the inside.
Yeah.
It's like, well, why don't you just do that with everybody?
I'm not going to lie.
It's more efficient.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. So the Rancor, we're saying, can't really be pierced with the blade. Its skin is repellent to the lightning. So why don't you just like force choke his little tiny brain?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And no one else has ever thought of this.
It really seems like you do some really nasty stuff with the Force. It's like, oh, I'm just going to pop your little brain. Pop. And it's
kind of makes you think of the Scarlet Witch movie with the one guy.
Yeah.
Just doing that to everybody.
I am a god. Just everybody's brains leaking out of their ears.
Kind of makes you wonder why Luke didn't do that with the Rancor.
Because you just can't go around melting brains, man.
Just closing a gate on his spine is better.
Yeah.
I feel like that's more cruel.
Perfect.
I'd rather have my brain explode than a metal spike driven through my spine.
I'll keep
just me personally.
Keep that in mind. Got it. All right. So anyway, Starkiller is starting to build some trust in this rebellion. Coda has no idea that this was the guy who blinded him and killed.
Or does he?
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. It's like, I'm pretty sure he knew all along. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, he didn't have to continue to go with him. I think he wanted to see. He's like, see what you're doing. Like, what's up, man? You kind of blinded me, dude. What's going on? Why are you trying to be all nice?
Yeah, and the game actually does a lot better job of explaining that. I don't think that's a reveal at the end of the game. I think that was established pretty early on that he knew who Starkiller was.
It just makes sense. But
you actually got true training from him in the game too. It wasn't just like, oh, it's a drunk guy in the back, he's hung over again.
Yeah.
Boy. It would be the reboot of the century. It would be just Coda walking behind us. Now I'm just picturing making a reboot of Force Unleashed, but you're the kid as Galen Merrick, and Coda's just lumbering behind you. Boy.
Yeah, get the dude who voiced Kratos and was also in Stargate SG-1. I'm not even really a boy anymore. Don't backtalk me.
I can't tell. I'm blind. I don't know how tall you are.
I'm blind. Oh, boy. So, yeah.
Are you a boy? I'm assuming a lot of things here.
Well, in today's day and age, you can't assume. Allow me to tell you. Oh, man. Okay. So, I guess to move on a little bit. So, we've got some trust building here. We have, some of the leaders, Bail and Mon Mothma and all this, and everybody's sort of getting together behind the Starkiller banner. And Starkiller's supposed to give him a target to make a point.
Target Vader.
Okay. So we go to Raxus, back to Raxus Prime for the 10th time.
Back? What were you here for? Just stuff that didn't involve blinding people.
Making some runs. I would never have driven a potential Sith Lord over to blind you or anything like that. Oh, okay. Sounds good. I totally trust you, even though you're the one who keeps peeking through all the video cameras at people.
I totally trust the people who haven't told me their names yet.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that's my lightsaber, by the way.
Boy. Yeah, and that's the other thing, too. It's his lightsaber the entire time. Come on, man. Fun. So we have this meeting on Corellia. We are going to attack the Star Destroyer facility on Raxus Prime, which we then do. So walk me through the sort of the video gameplay for this, because it sounds from the book like this would have been like a really fun kind of stage to do.
So leading up to dealing with both our computer threat and the Star Destroyer, it's kind of similar to the opening for Fallen Order. You know, we kind of have this junk planet. Obviously, this is a manufacturing planet opposed to a deconstruction scrap yard. But same kind of tight corridors, scrap everywhere. You have some battles with robots. I believe in the game you actually deal with Proxy beforehand. Because I'm pretty sure that's in the same area. So you have to, fight the little AI gone rogue thing and save him. And then afterwards, you go in and pull down the Star Destroyer. It just kind of, you open up from these dark, foreboding corridors into this wide expanse where you have this massive space battle, which is pretty epic to see. And you see the Star Destroyer starting to fall, and you're kind of running out of time. You have Cody yelling in your ear about, figuring out how to destroy this plant. You're like, well, I think I'm just going to pull that down. But you start having like TIE fighters come at you as you're pulling the Star Destroyer down, and a lot of debris starts falling. You actually have panels from the Star Destroyer coming in from orbit and landing around you, which is pretty epic.
And this was this PS2 or was this PS3?
PS3, Xbox 360 era.
Okay.
For both games, I believe.
I'm actually I'm pulling it up on my phone just to watch it.
You can tell me how wrong I am, but that's roughly how I remember it from like the 5 or 6 years. No, probably longer than that since I've played it, to be honest. I'm sure that's worth it.
Looks pretty decent. Yeah, I mean, I see kind of what you're saying. It pulling it, the whole bringing it down thing does seem pretty fast. And then he's kind of just trying to stop it.
Yeah, near the end, it's like, oh, too much.
It's too much. I can't stop it anymore. Yeah. Anyway, not bad graphically. Not a bad graphic wise there. Of course, these are cutscenes, but
right.
Yeah. Okay. So we have our attack, and that's seemingly pretty cool. However, Vader, just being Vader, he's like, "Oh, I've arrested all your friends, and you were never my friend, and we just used you to get to them. Totally all my plan, right, imps? Right, palps? It was me and you the whole time.
Papa Palps. Me and you, 100 years. Papa Palps and Vader. 100 episodes.
Are you sure that you informed me of this plan beforehand? Of course, my lord. We were in it together the entire time.
I emailed you. It must have gone to my spam then.
It was that sentient AI, always playing tricks. Well, I guess it's good it's dead then. It was getting a little bit too aggressive.
It's kind of creepy, not gonna lie. I don't like the fact that people can look like me.
Oh,
Except for my clones. You're what? No clones.
Don't worry about it.
Speaking of which, cloning. Just throwing it out there for your little buddy. Yeah. In case anyone doesn't know, the second game he plays Starkiller again, and he's a clone.
Yep. Or is he?
No, he's a clone.
He's a clone. it's
Juno's a clone too.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, she either dies like at the end of this game or the beginning of the second game. I can't remember.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
So, I guess past the whole arrest of everyone and blah, 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 we get our kind of confrontation in the Emperor's throne room. You got it. Walk us through it, man. Walk us through. How many force
I always thought
lightnings?
this was kind of odd because in this moment during this fight, he doesn't give into his anger, but he's not necessarily the most powerful Jedi. He's used to, relying on the aggressive side of the Force, so it is kind of ridiculous how much he just manhandles Vader in this moment, other than just the fact that it's a video game and it makes you feel good about yourself.
Well, you got to get to the choice at the end,
thing.
right?
Right. But we do get some actually kind of cool dialogue here with Starkiller being like, I don't hate you, I pity you, and I think I kind of know where you're coming from and everything, and realization at the end after he removes his helmet, what his master's been all this time, and that's where the pity really starts for him, and he actually says he's just going to kill him to release him from his torment. Mm-hmm. But we get some really cool fight scenes here. The fact that he doesn't just, spam Force Lightning right away, take out Vader, always was kind of weird to me. I feel like that would have been kind of a cool little power trip moment where you're just bringing Vader to his knees easily.
Yeah.
That would have been a pretty epic cutscene.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, our choice here, we either go light side, dark side. Starkiller defeats the Emperor.
Yeah.
Okay. But spares
obviously
him.
Not canon,
yeah.
Obviously.
But spares him.
Which is
because Coda said so. And then the Emperor's like, unlimited power. And, if you choose light side, Starkiller absorbs it, sacrifices himself, Coda and the Senators escape. Then blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Now,
pretty epic absorbing of the lightning, too.
Yeah.
The way they describe it as he's becoming one with the Force.
Yep.
Essentially.
He's one with the Force, and the Force is with me. Or you could just be a total dick.
Yeah.
And kill Vader.
Like you were through the entire game.
You just kill Vader, man. Just kill him.
Yeah.
And then you're like, kill him too. Nah, I'm going to try and kill you.
Yeah.
And then he gets crushed.
Yeah.
It's funny because like this whole thing is like severely injuring Starkiller with the Rogue Shadow, and that kills
Right.
Juno, Coda, and the Senators. And then he wakes up to become the new Vader. As he's like, hey, I've got you some really cool armor. This is like Vader version 2.
Gotta admit, though, it is pretty cool armor.
Yeah, it is. And that's, I'll be honest, it's kind of a rather silly ending, but whatever.
Yeah.
I get the point of it.
Definitely not to be the ending that you were supposed to pick.
No.
It's just one of those things like, you want to make people feel really bad about their decision at the end. It's like, we were putting a decision in the game? Yeah, I think we are now. And it was totally on the vein of like the Revenge of the Sith tie-in game where you have that extra one at the end where you end up killing Obi-Wan and the
Right.
Emperor and just taking over as full-powered Anakin.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. It would be funny if like they had little Palpatine pop up. He's like, "You're about to make a choice."
Do you like the old Telltale games where it's like Palpatine will remember that you killed Vader?
That would be funny as hell. Your stock or your honor in the rebellion has gone down.
You get pop-up after pop-up, like, Mon Mothma will remember you did that. Bail Organa will remember you did that. Princess Leia will
That would be
remember
funny.
you did that.
It's like, no, so Palpatine pops up. He's like, you're about to make a choice. Do you want to quick save? Oh, boy. So that kind of brings us to the end, but not necessarily the end of the story. There is Unleashed 2. Unleashed 3 was attempted, and that didn't really go anywhere, unfortunately.
I don't remember the story of Force Unleashed 2 whatsoever, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know either.
And I don't even know if that'd be a book I'd want to dive into. I just like the first game.
Yeah, I'm good.
I remember 2 was like a bunch of like, oh, you can customize your lightsabers now, have different colors, and you have 2, and you have different armors and more force abilities. But story, no, we don't care about that.
Yeah, that seemed to be consensus from what I've read as well. Now, I guess the big overarching thing here is Starkiller, right? So what are your thoughts on Starkiller, just as a character, as a Sith, Jedi, Force person?
I think as a character, he's wasted in the game, quite honestly. I love the game. I love the concept of slowly finding out that you're not only playing as like one of the strongest Sith / Jedi, but also the one who started the rebellion. I feel like the potential for that could have been, it could have been up there with like Rogue One, as a setup.
Yeah.
I really am disappointed that he gets shoehorned into these games and is just ignored otherwise, because he's a cool character. I mean, yes, he's not a super... He's two-dimensional. I won't lie. He is a bit two-dimensional, but for the time that we get to spend with him, it's hard to give him a ton of realistic character development. I mean, he has to change sides so quickly that they basically just force it upon being Juno that turns him into a good guy, but like we don't ever explain why he even falls for Juno, so it's just kind of rushed.
Right.
Like it could have been a 2-part story. Like that could have been the conclusion of Force Unleashed 2.
Yeah.
It could have ended on a cliffhanger with Vader's second betrayal.
Yeah.
And get some character development of just Juno and him together for a while for a second game.
And I think that that's really the failing of the book, and why I don't particularly care about rating it as a book.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that they, and you even mentioned things that they didn't talk about or didn't showcase very well in book form.
Well, it felt abridged.
It did. It really did
Heavily
feel abridged. It did. And it wasn't, but it did. But
I would be shocked to see how they would abridge this book, because it would probably
that'd be
worthless
terrible
to read. Yeah.
It seemed lazy. And I don't think that it particularly tells the story very well. And, the whole thing is you want to build up these characters, and that's why there's a novelization, so you can elaborate on some stuff and like actually put some thought out there. And I don't really think they did a good job of that. And it's sad, because then it just looks like a money grab.
And it was. I mean, to me, I feel like he just he took from the what's the term? Just kind of the PowerPoints of the game, just like this big thing that happens, this big thing that happens. You don't have to really expound upon it in any way and add to it. It's like even some of the dialogue with Coda, especially when he's having the vision, everything, it's spot on for the game. There's no inflection. There's no, why can't we get into the mind of Coda a little bit? Coda's a cool character. He really is.
Yeah.
And the way that he survives the Clone Wars is actually pretty interesting. He never trusted the clones, so he actually had his own ragtag group of mercenaries that fought with him. Yeah. As did what's our other Jedi? The crazy one. He actually just had a bunch of droids with him. And the isolation drove him mad, and his grief of not being able to protect the council, which he obviously valued greatly.
Yeah,
but we just get
Paratus.
Kasdan. But instead, we just kind of, because of how the novelization portrays him, we just get the crazy guy. We don't get to see into his past what broke him, what caused this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a story that would have been worth telling, I think, and it's just kind of wasted. Shaak Ti's always been kind of abused in Star Wars, so I can't really say much about her.
No doubt.
She's always been kind of a throwaway Jedi Master. But, yeah, I just wish that this book would have been not quite twice the length, but maybe 50% longer.
Yep.
And we could have actually gotten some real details.
Yeah.
I mainly, it wasn't so much that I knew this book wouldn't be amazing, but just kind of wanted to bring up the conversation of what would have been a character worth bringing up movie after movie after movie had we actually gotten a little bit more time with him. I think that this character could have been brought up as a hero of the rebellion just as much as Han Solo could,
yep.
or anyone else. I mean, there is no rebellion without Starkiller. He did start it, and he was the proverbial spark of this generation.
Yep.
So, kind of wish he'd get a little bit more credit for that.
Same here. A lot of missed opportunities. A lot of missed opportunities to actually be a writer. And who was our writer of this book?
Williams. Williams. What was the guy's name?
Book.
Sean Williams.
Sean. What was that stupid game that did that? Jason. It was Jason.
Jason.
Jason. God, what a terrible game. I'm sorry if anybody really likes it. What else has he done?
Oh, wow. He did the New Jedi Order, Force Heretic.
He's done, yeah, he's done.
He did all 3 Force Heretics.
Yeah, okay. So, Force Heretic, Force Unleashed, The Old Republic Fatal Alliance, which I have read. He's done both the Force Unleashed novelizations. So let me put it to you this way. This just seemed like, hey, we're going to give you an advance and just like, do something. And he did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not necessarily the best attempt, which is a little sad. But he's got some other stuff on the books here, which is cool. So there we go.
Yeah.
I expect better though.
Yeah.
I expect better. Now, as far as a rating, I don't want to get nuts over it. I would probably put it like a 2. It isn't particularly interesting to me. I think that it's literally just it's not a very good novelization of what could have been really cool. But you never know. His hands might have been tied. He might not have been able to expand on anything, but it should have been better, could have been better. It wasn't. It's a 2.
Yeah. You don't have to expand on the story crazily. Just make it a little more interesting. I don't think your hands are tied so much that you couldn't have given Starkiller a little bit more personality, maybe a few more inner monologues of what was going on. Could be wrong, totally wrong, but I think it was just laziness more than anything.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, man, that's Force Unleashed and the story of Starkiller. We might dive a little bit more into Starkiller at another time. We'll see.
Yeah.
But he is an interesting character, and we wanted to do something different.
Absolutely. A little break from, trying to be a break from all the Kenobi and everything. Of course, we still end up getting Kenobi in it.
Yeah, technically. So, but aside from that, we got anything else we need to chat about today?
I do believe that's it.
Okay. Well, folks, we do hope that you enjoyed today's episode. We always enjoy talking about Star Wars and everything going on. And, you know, obviously there's going to be a lot more to come, and you just keep along with us, or don't, but mainly do, because Stone Cold said so. And you don't want to stunner, or maybe you do because you're like that, but whatever. Follow us on the social at TC Plan Podcast, Twitter, Facebook, all that good jazz. Or if you want, like if you're super cool or whatever, just send us an email with all of your theories and thoughts and all that sort of stuff, or any topics you'd like us just to discuss. We enjoy that kind of junk. tcplanpodcast@gmail.com is the show's email. And I think that is about it. So y'all have a great rest of your week.
And as always, may the Force be with you.